Reason 1. Homelander's character feels weaker even after taking V1. The biggest problem with this episode is Homelander. In the last episode, he took V1. He became even more powerful, almost immortal, and basically impossible to stop. So naturally, you would expect him to be terrifying in this episode, right? But no. Instead, Homelander spends most of the episode sitting in the president's chair, giving random orders like some angry manager who just got promoted. He doesn't feel like the most dangerous being on Earth. He doesn't feel like a final boss. He doesn't even feel active. He just sits there like, you do this, you go there, you handle that. Bro, you are Homelander. You are faster, stronger, and now even more powerful after V1. Why are you acting like the CEO of a toxic office? The whole point of giving him V1 should have been to make him more dangerous, more aggressive, and more unpredictable. But instead, the writing makes him feel passive. And when your main villain is supposed to be at his peak, but he feels weaker than before, that is not character development. That is poor writing. Reason 2. Sister Sage becomes an absolute idiot. Now let's talk about Sister Sage. This character was introduced as the smartest person in the world. Not just smart, the smartest. So when a character like that starts making basic mistakes, the writing needs to be extremely careful. But in this episode, they made her look completely senseless. She predicts Soldier Boy wrong. Okay, fine. Even smart people can make mistakes. But where is the backup plan? If Sister Sage is really that intelligent, she should already know that Homelander is unstable enough to kill her too. So why doesn't she prepare anything solid? Why doesn't she secretly help Billy Butcher's team? Why doesn't she create an escape plan? Why doesn't she set up a warning system in case Homelander or any soup attacks their hidden location? And the most embarrassing part is this. Frenchie knew more practical things than her. Frenchie knew Homelander can't see through zinc. Frenchie built a flying soup detector. But Sister Sage, the smartest person alive, apparently didn't think of any of this? Come on. If the show wants us to believe she is a genius, then she needs to act like one. Because right now, she doesn't feel like the smartest person in the world. She feels like a character being made dumb just so the plot can move forward. Reason 3. The Deep can't even go into water. Now, the Deep has also become completely useless now. First, A-Train and Black Noir were wasted without any significant fight. Then the Deep was kicked out of the Seven, but now the writing goes even further. Because of the pipe leakage, sea creatures hate the Deep so much that even a shark threatens him. Ha ha ha. Just think about that. The Deep's whole power was that he could talk to sea creatures and survive underwater like a fish. But now sea creatures hate him, and he can't safely go into water. So what is left? He is not respected by the Seven, he is not useful on land, and now even the ocean rejects him. At this point, the Deep is not a superhero, he is just a walking embarrassment. So if the finale kills him in a pathetic way, or keeps him alive as a useless joke, it won't even be surprising. That's how badly his character has been written. Reason 4. The church scene makes no sense. The church scene is another major problem. At this point, everyone knows Homelander has V1. He is more powerful, almost immortal, and the team barely has any real options left. So logically, what should they do? They should focus on convincing Sister Sage to help them, or creating a V1 killing virus, or making Kimiko powerful like Soldier Boy. But instead, without any strong reason, they go to the church and get trapped. And the scene only gets worse from there. Oh, Father could have killed the non-believers himself if he wanted to. But instead, the episode randomly throws in She-Line and Dognot just to create a forced fight scene with MM and Starlight. And honestly, that fight was not needed. This is the second last episode of the entire series. This should feel tense, serious, and focused. But instead, we are getting random side characters, forced fights, and gross jokes between She-Line and Dognot. Amazing timing. The final war is almost here. Homelander is basically unstoppable, and the show is still wasting time on scenes that feel like they belong in a mid-season filler episode. That is not tension. That is poor structure. Reason 5. Synapse's entry feels forced. Synapse's entry also feels badly planned. He is introduced as a psychic soup, but without a proper backstory or strong build-up. Then he catches Huey and Billy. At that point, he could easily kill both of them, but instead, he asks Homelander if he should kill them or not. And somehow, Homelander says no to killing Billy Butcher. Billy Butcher, his biggest rival, one of the biggest threats to him. Of course, we know Billy has to survive for the finale, but then don't create a scene where he is completely captured and should logically die. The writers put themselves into a corner and then forced Homelander to act stupid. And then Synapse gives this long explanation about Billy being willing to sacrifice anyone for his mission. But is that supposed to be a reveal? We already know that. Every season has shown us that Billy Butcher is exactly that kind of person. So the whole scene feels like fake depth. It looks serious, but it doesn't actually tell us anything new. Reason 6. Where is Ryan? Another huge problem is Ryan. This season barely used him, but in the last few episodes, he has almost disappeared completely, and that makes no sense. Ryan is not a normal side character. He is Homelander's son. He is one of the most powerful characters in the entire story. He literally destroyed Stormfront. So why is he missing when the story is reaching its final stage? This is the second last episode. If there was ever a time to use Ryan properly, it was now. But instead, the show acts like he doesn't even exist. And that weakens the whole episode because Ryan should be directly connected to Homelander, Butcher, and the final conflict. Ignoring him at this point feels like the writers don't know what to do with him. Reason 7. Soldier Boy feels weak like a normal human. The Soldier Boy scene was also badly written. Homelander choking Soldier Boy and making him unconscious so easily does not make sense. We have already seen Soldier Boy fight Homelander before. In that fight, Homelander was struggling. Billy Butcher had to help because Soldier Boy was genuinely dangerous. But now, just because Homelander took V1, the writers suddenly make Soldier Boy look weak. The problem is, Soldier Boy also has V1 level power, so if Homelander was going to beat him, fine. But at least give us a proper fight. Make it intense. Make it brutal. Make Soldier Boy feel like an actual threat. Instead, he gets handled like a normal human. One choke and he is done. That is not a satisfying defeat. That is lazy writing. When you have two powerhouse characters, you don't waste the moment like this. Reason 8. Gen 5 characters are wasted. The Gen 5 characters were also wasted. They were brought into the episode without a proper backstory, without a strong intro, and without giving the audience enough reason to care. They just suddenly appear and help Starlight. That's it. And that is disappointing because these characters had potential. A crossover should feel exciting. It should make the world feel bigger. But here, it feels like the writers just added them because they needed more bodies in the scene. No proper setup, no meaningful impact, no emotional weight. They don't feel like important characters from another story. They feel like random cameos. And when spin-off characters are used like this, it doesn't make the episode better. It makes both shows feel weaker. Reason 9. Frenchie's sacrifice was emotional, but poorly written. Now let's talk about Frenchie's sacrifice. Yes, emotionally, the scene worked for many people, and honestly, the actor performed it really well. But from a writing point of view, this scene has major problems. First, Homelander already has V1. He is basically immortal and stronger than ever. So when he comes to Billy Butcher's team's working place, and Frenchie distracts him by one tap, Homelander should know that he can't be alone there. Second, Frenchie says Kimiko successfully got Soldier Boy-like powers. If that is true, then this was the perfect moment for her to attack Homelander. But nothing happens. Then Homelander kills Frenchie and just leaves. That is the dumbest part. Homelander knows something is hidden there. He senses the zinc box. He knows he can't see through it. So why doesn't he laser the whole area? Why doesn't he destroy the uranium site? Why doesn't he kidnap Frenchie first and use him to bring out the rest of the team? Instead, he just kills him and walks away like, okay, enough work for today. Very scary villain. The scene felt emotional because of Frenchie's performance, but the logic behind it, weak. And that is the problem with this episode. Good acting cannot always save lazy writing.